black belt asked a quiet woman to spar as a joke, but what happened next left the entire gym speechless. Sometimes the most unassuming people hide the greatest strength, and Tyler Garrison was about to learn never to judge someone by their appearance. Rebecca Thompson eased through the heavy glass doors of Master Kim's martial arts academy, her faded sneakers scuffing softly on the polished floor. The sharp tang of sweat and focus hit her as she scanned the room for her 16-year-old daughter, Chloe. At 38, Rebecca blended into the background with her plain look. No makeup, a loose gray hoodie, and well-worn sweatpants. She'd learned long ago that true strength didn't need a spotlight. "Hey, Mom's over there," Chloe shouted, spotting her from the blue mats where she was drilling kicks with a group of teens. Her voice carried a mix of excitement and pride. Rebecca gave a small wave, brushing a strand of graying hair from her face. "No rush, kiddo," Rebecca replied, her tone warm but understated as she settled onto a bench by the wall. She pulled out her phone, planning to scroll through work emails while Chloe wrapped up her class. The gym pulsed with life, shouts of effort, the thud of fists on pads, and Master Kim's clipped instructions. Rebecca sat quietly, her eyes flicking to Chloe's precise movements now and then. She didn't need to boast about her daughter's skill. Her presence was enough. Tyler Garrison, a 24-year-old black belt with a swagger that demanded attention, was joking with a group of younger students near the punching bags. His loud laugh cut through the gym's rhythm, and his eyes soon landed on Rebecca sitting alone, looking like just another tired parent. "Yo, Jake, watch this," he muttered, flashing a grin as he saw a chance for some fun. Tyler strolled over, his black belt swaying with each step. "Hey, Chloe's mom," he called, his voice carrying a teasing edge. "You ever step on the mat? Bet you'd give us a show." A few students snickered, heads turning as the gym's energy shifted toward the exchange. Rebecca glanced up, her calm hazel eyes meeting his. She set her phone down slowly, her movements unhurried. "Me? Nah, I'm just here for Chloe," she said, her voice soft but steady. "Come on, just a quick round," Tyler pushed, crossing his arms with a smirk. "I'll take it easy, don't worry." He expected her to laugh it off, to shrink back like most would. To him, she was no challenge, just a mom in baggy clothes. The gym grew quieter, curious eyes locking onto them. Chloe, mid-kick, paused and glanced over, her expression unreadable but alert. Rebecca stood, brushing her hands on her hoodie. "If you're sure," she said simply, her tone neutral. A low murmur spread through the room. Tyler's grin widened, thinking he'd won already. He led the way to the mat, bowing with a flourish that drew a few chuckles. Rebecca followed, her steps light and deliberate, her posture relaxed but oddly grounded. Master Kim, leaning against a wall, watched with a flicker of interest, his arms crossed. "Let's keep it clean, just technique," Tyler said loudly, dropping into a stance with cocky ease. He threw a quick jab, expecting her to flinch or fumble. Instead, Rebecca shifted, her body angling just enough to let the punch sail past. Her movement was fluid, almost casual, but it carried a precision that made a few students lean forward. Tyler's smirk faded slightly. He stepped up his game, launching a combination of punches and a low kick, his form sharp from years of training. Rebecca moved like a shadow, dodging each strike with minimal effort, her feet gliding across the mat. She didn't attack, didn't need to. Her defense was a quiet storm, making Tyler's flashy moves look almost clumsy. The gym was dead silent now, the air thick with astonishment. Tyler's face tightened, his breaths sharp as he pushed harder, throwing a high crescent kick meant to impress. Rebecca ducked under it with ease, her eyes locked on his, calm and unshaken. A few students gasped, their whispers breaking the hush. Tyler, frustration creeping in, tried a new tactic. "All right, let's grapple," he said, his voice clipped as he shifted his stance. He lunged, aiming to grab her shoulder. In a heartbeat, Rebecca pivoted, catching his arm and redirecting his momentum with a subtle twist. Tyler stumbled forward, barely catching himself before he hit the mat. "Enough!" Master Kim's voice rang out, firm but calm. Tyler froze, his chest heaving, his pride visibly dented. Rebecca stepped back, her expression unchanged, as if she'd just finished a chore. She offered a small nod, then walked back to her bench, picking up her phone like nothing had happened. The gym stayed quiet for a long moment, the weight of the moment sinking in. Chloe jogged over, her eyes wide with awe. "Mom, that was insane," she whispered, barely containing a grin. Rebecca shrugged, tucking her phone into her pocket. "Just old habits, kiddo," she said, her voice low. Master Kim approached as the class resumed, his gaze sharp but warm. "You've got more than habits, Rebecca," he said quietly. "You trained, and not just for fun. Why keep it hidden?" She met his eyes, her smile faint but knowing. "Some things don't need a stage," she replied. "I'm here for Chloe, not the spotlight." Kim nodded, respect clear in his expression. Across the room, Tyler stretched in silence, his usual bravado gone. He'd underestimated her, and the lesson stung deeper than any kick. The other students stole glances at Rebecca, their curiosity burning, but she was already back to her emails, her quiet strength settling into the background once more. As Rebecca and Chloe left the gym, the cool night air hit them, and Chloe couldn't hold back. "You've got to tell me how you learned that, Mom. Seriously." Rebecca chuckled, unlocking their minivan. "Maybe one day, kid. For now, let's get you home. You've got homework." Rebecca and Chloe stepped into the crisp evening air, the gym's heavy glass doors swinging shut behind them. The parking lot glowed faintly under the streetlights, and the distant hum of the city felt like a quiet backdrop to the energy still buzzing in Chloe's voice. "Mom, you have to tell me more about that," she said, slinging her gym bag over her shoulder. "Like, where did you even learn to move like that?" Rebecca unlocked the minivan, her expression calm but her eyes carrying a hint of something deeper. "Maybe amusement, maybe memory. Just something I picked up a long time ago," she said, sliding into the driver's seat. "Nothing to make a fuss about." Chloe hopped in, tossing her bag into the back with a dramatic huff. "Nothing to make a fuss about? Mom, you basically wiped the floor with a black belt in front of everyone." She leaned forward, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Come on, give me something. Were you like a secret ninja, or what?" Rebecca let out a soft laugh, starting the engine. The minivan rumbled to life, and she pulled out of the lot, her hands steady on the wheel. "No ninjas here, kiddo," she said, her tone light but final. "Just a lot of practice from when I was younger. Life moves on, you know." Chloe slumped back in her seat, clearly unsatisfied, but knowing better than to push too hard. She fiddled with her phone, stealing glances at her mom, who seemed as unreadable as ever. Rebecca's mind, though, wasn't as quiet as her demeanor. The feel of the mat, the rhythm of dodging Tyler's strikes, it had stirred something she hadn't felt in years. Not just skill, but a spark of who she used to be before late shifts and school pickups became her world. Back at the gym, the atmosphere hadn't fully settled. Students were still whispering about the spar, their voices low but excited as they packed up their gear. Tyler, now alone by the mirrors, was running through forms with a focus that hadn't been there before. His usual swagger was muted, replaced by something heavier, maybe respect, maybe a bruised ego. He kept replaying Rebecca's movements in his head, the way she'd turned his own strength against him without breaking a sweat. Master Kim, wiping down the mats, noticed Tyler's intensity. He walked over his steps, deliberate, and stopped a few feet away. "You're thinking about it too much," Kim said, his voice gruff but not unkind. "Let it teach you, not haunt you." Tyler paused mid-form, his shoulders tense. "I just didn't expect that," he admitted, his voice low. "She's just a mom, you know?" Kim's eyes crinkled with a rare smile. "A mom who could probably take half this gym apart if she wanted. Strength isn't always loud, Garrison. Remember that." Tyler nodded, his jaw tight, and went back to his forms, each move a little sharper, a little humbler. Kim watched him for a moment, then turned his attention to the rest of the gym, his mind lingering on Rebecca. He'd seen fighters come and go, some flashy, some steady, but she was different. Her quiet wasn't weakness, it was control, the kind that only came from years of discipline and something deeper, something she wasn't sharing. At home, Rebecca and Chloe settled into their cozy apartment, the familiar clutter of textbooks and sparring gear scattered around. Rebecca heated up leftovers while Chloe sprawled on the couch, still buzzing with questions she knew wouldn't get answers tonight. As they ate, Chloe kept sneaking looks at her mom, trying to piece together the puzzle of who she'd seen on the mat. Later, after Chloe had gone to bed, Rebecca sat at the kitchen table, a cup of tea cooling in her hands. The apartment was quiet, save for the faint hum of the fridge. She pulled a small, worn photo from her wallet, one she hadn't looked at in years. It showed a younger Rebecca, maybe 22 in a G, her face fierce and focused, a bronze medal around her neck from a regional tournament. She stared at it, her thumb brushing the faded edge. That version of her felt like a lifetime ago, before Chloe, before the diner, before she'd chosen stability over the fight. The next evening at the gym, Rebecca noticed a shift. Students nodded to her with a new respect, and even the other parents seemed curious, their small talk carrying a hint of awe. Tyler kept his distance, but when their eyes met, he offered a small, genuine nod. No smirk, no challenge. Rebecca returned it, her expression as calm as ever. Master Kim caught her before she left, holding out a plain card with the gym's logo. "Private session," he said simply. "No pressure, but I think you'd get something out of it." "So would we." Rebecca took the card, her fingers lingering on it. "I'll think about it," she said, her voice soft but not dismissive. Kim nodded, sensing she meant it. As she and Chloe walked to the van, Chloe nudged her. "You're gonna do it, aren't you?" she asked, her grin sly. Rebecca raised an eyebrow, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "Maybe, kiddo, maybe." She didn't say more, but as they drove home, the card in her pocket felt like a quiet challenge, one she wasn't sure she'd walk away from. Some secrets stay hidden, but others, like Rebecca's, were starting to demand a little light. The following evening, Rebecca and Chloe returned to Master Kim's martial arts academy, the familiar squeak of Rebecca's sneakers blending into the gym's lively hum. Chloe darted off to join her class, her energy infectious as she warmed up with her friends. Rebecca settled onto her usual bench, the card from Master Kim tucked in her pocket like a quiet dare. She didn't pull it out, but its presence tugged at her thoughts as she watched Chloe's class begin. The gym was alive with motion, students drilling forms, the sharp crack of pads, and Master Kim's steady voice cutting through it all. Rebecca's eyes followed her daughter, but her mind wandered to the photo she'd studied last night, the younger version of herself staring back with a fire she hadn't felt in years. That spark had flickered on the mat against Tyler, and now it lingered, refusing to be ignored. Tyler was there too, working a speed bag with a focus that bordered on intense. He hadn't spoken to Rebecca since their spar, but she caught him glancing her way once, his expression a mix of respect and curiosity. He was different now, quieter, more deliberate in his movements. Rebecca didn't dwell on it. Her focus was inward, wrestling with a question she hadn't faced in a long time. Was she ready to step back into that part of herself? As Chloe's class wrapped up, Master Kim approached Rebecca, his presence calm but commanding. "Thought about that session yet?" he asked, his voice low enough to keep it between them. Rebecca met his gaze, her fingers brushing the card in her pocket. "Still thinking," she said, her tone even but not closed off. "It's been a while, Kim. Not sure I'm ready to dive back in." He nodded, his eyes sharp with understanding. "It's not about diving in, Rebecca. It's about remembering who you are. You've got something most don't control, not just skill. That's worth exploring." She gave a small smile, appreciating his words but not committing. "I'll let you know," she said, standing as Chloe jogged over, her face flushed from practice. "Ready, Mom?" Chloe asked, slinging her bag over her shoulder. Her eyes flicked between Rebecca and Kim, sensing the weight of their conversation. Rebecca drove home with Chloe, the minivan's familiar hum a steady backdrop to the quiet thrill still pulsing through her. The gym's lights faded in the rearview mirror, but the feeling of the mat under her feet lingered, a reminder of a strength she'd tucked away for too long. Chloe glanced at her mom, a proud smile tugging at her lips. "You're gonna keep going, right?" she asked, her voice hopeful. Rebecca's eyes stayed on the road, but her smile was warm, unguarded. "We'll see, kiddo," she said, her tone light but carrying a spark of possibility. For now, that was enough, a small step back toward the fire she'd once carried, proof that the quietest hearts can hold the fiercest flames.